Okay, so it's time for us to go ahead and get back into our coverage over Heroes Reunited. And with that being said, we do pick up the final chapter of this crossover that took place in Captain America issue number 12. Now remember, this storyline does take place over in the Heroes Reborn reality for Marvel Comics. Now, as we all know, that came out of the whole idea of Onslaught, where you had our heroes go into Onslaught but be transported into a different reality, because in the late 1990s, some properties of Marvel Comics were no longer selling, and so they had a great idea to push those characters away in a different reality and give old creators a chance to kind of give those characters a fresh start in a brand new reality, and hoping that it would bring fans back into Marvel Comics for those characters like Iron Man, the Avengers, and Fantastic Four. Anyway, so Heroes Reunited, it's really more about the idea of our heroes trying the best to defeat Galactus. And technically, it's really more about Doctor Doom trying his best to defeat Galactus. And let me explain. You see, when it came to the very beginning of Heroes Reunited, you had Galactus arrive to Earth. When he did, things popped off very quickly, but the Earth was consumed by Galactus. What you've been seeing in the earlier chapters is Doctor Doom going back in time every single time he failed to stop Galactus. So now this is his fourth and final attempt. And the reason why it's his fourth and final attempt, because at the end of the last chapter for Doctor Doom, his device that allows him to time travel got damaged. So unfortunately for Doom, he has to get it right here to basically stop Galactus, but to save the world. And so as we get into the opening pages of the storyline, we really do pick up with Rebecca Barnes. Now, Rebecca Barnes is the Bucky of this reality, the Bucky of the 1990s for this reality. Now, here's the thing, because when it comes to Rebecca Barnes, there's so much about this character that comes out later on in later books down the road when it comes to Marvel Comics. So like, she's a very intriguing character for the overall idea of Heroes Reborn. And you see what I mean if we ever come back to this reality. But for Rebecca Barnes, when she does get home, she's confronted by Doctor Doom. Now, for me personally, I would freak out as well. But the reason why you have Doctor Doom there for, you see, for Doctor Doom, he was able to access the SHIELD files. And with him doing that, he learned that Rebecca is technically a chronal anomaly. She should not exist at all. And that right there continues the whole idea that Doctor Doom is slowly realizing that there's something off about this reality. The possibility that this reality should not even exist at all. And that right there is pretty important. But either way, for Doctor Doom, he feels like he should go ahead and just kill her off, because again, she should not even exist at all when it comes to this reality. But you did have Steve Rogers appear. Now, when Steve Rogers does appear, you have both characters just stop in their track. It is not like Doctor Doom and Steve are going to fight. And it's not like Doctor Doom is scared of Steve Rogers. It's more of like, for me personally, it's Doctor Doom remembering that what he's here for. Like, the dude traveled back in time to find a way to stop Galactus. So why should he waste time on Rebecca Barnes when technically he should be focused on finding a way to defeat Galactus? So it's him saying like, you know what? Let me go ahead and get the heroes together to fight against Galactus. Now, here's the thing, because for Doctor Doom, he also drops the hint for Steve Rogers that he is somehow connected to SHIELD. Now, we did learn in the earlier chapters that when it comes to SHIELD, they do work with Tony Stark, but they also work with Doctor Doom as well. And so you then have Doctor Doom begin the process of trying to bring together the heroes of this reality. And the thing is, it's Doctor Doom also realizing that he needs Reed Richards. And for me personally, that is pretty big for Doctor Doom, because for Doom, he realized he needs the help of other scientists like Tony Stark, Bruce Banner, Reed Richards, Hank Pym to find a way to defeat Galactus. But here's the thing though, because in the earlier chapters, we always saw Fantastic Four die first. And so when it comes to Doctor Doom, he knows that the Heralds of Galactus will fight against Fantastic Four. The Fantastic Four will die, and that will hurt their chances to finding a way to defeat Galactus. So you had Doom get the Avengers, they go out there, protect the Fantastic Four, defeat the Heralds of Galactus, and now you have our heroes being able to begin the process of working together to find a way to stop Galactus. Now, for Galactus, he knows that his heralds have basically failed on Earth. Now, when it comes to Galactus, he has 5 heralds, so only 4 of them have failed. Terrax, Firelord, Plasma, and Airwalker. But the Silver Surfer is still around. And the thing is, he's hoping the Silver Surfer will still be able to finish the job, to get the Earth ready for Galactus to consume. Now, for the Silver Surfer, we saw in earlier videos that he kind of hates the idea of Earth being consumed by Galactus because the Fantastic Four has saved him. And so he's beginning to grow when it comes to having emotions. But either way, you do have Galactus order Surfer to go get the Earth ready for consumption. But now we have to shift over to the Knights of the Atomic Round Table. Now, that name was given to that group back in college. And really, everyone involved in that group were basically scientists in some types of ways. Like, for example, you got Tony Stark, you got Hank Pym, Doctor Doom, Bruce Banner, Reed Richards. There was one more character known as Rebel, but he officially died by this point in the Heroes Reborn reality. But all of these characters met back in college, and now it's all of them coming together to figure out how to get rid of Galactus. And the thing is, Bruce Banner has an idea. He's kind of like, hey, let's give Galactus exactly what he wants. And you have everyone freak out like, whoa, what in the world did Bruce Banner just say right now? But now we have to shift back over to Rebecca Barnes. Now, for Rebecca Barnes, it's really more of her at Avengers Mansion alongside with the other heroes. But on her mind at the moment is the whole idea of what Doctor Doom had told her. Like, hey, you should not exist. And so for Rebecca, she wants to know, what does that truly mean? Like, is there a possibility that she should not be around at all when it comes to being in this reality? But you didn't have her be confronted by the Silver Surfer. Now, for the Silver Surfer, even though he's still working for Galactus, he still wants to find a way to help out the humans. And so you had the Silver Surfer tell Rebecca, hey, listen, I have a message, and you need to get this message over to the heroes that Galactus is coming. And when he does arrive, your Earth is going to be consumed. And I'm telling y'all this right now so that you may be able to use your science to find a way off this planet, to take a few people somewhere else, to restart humanity somewhere else. Now, of course, Rebecca, she believes in the heroes. They're going to find a way to stop Galactus, to save this Earth. But for the Silver Surfer, he only came here to give her a message to give over to the other heroes. Now, while he does try to leave, you have her grab onto his board. Now, Steve Rogers sees that she has, of course, grabbed onto the Silver Surfer's board. And this leads into a very sad moment because while you do have Rebecca holding on to the Surfer board, you didn't have Galactus appear. When he does appear, you have Galactus hit her with some kind of cosmic energy, having her fall into a body of water. Now, luckily, Steve was around, but for the Silver Surfer, he's kind of like, what did I do? Like, what have my actions brought? Like, if I only came here and did the job that Galactus had asked me to do, there's a possibility that little girl would not got hit by my master's cosmic blast. So you didn't have Steve Rogers bring her back over to Avengers Mansion. Now, with him doing that, of course, you have all the Avengers, all the heroes seeing what happened to her. And of course, that motivates them even more to find a way to bring down Galactus. Now, right after that, you didn't have the heroes get one more person on their side, and that would be the Silver Surfer. He's no longer working for Galactus. He will now help the heroes to find a way to bring down his old master. And so you have our heroes give the Silver Surfer the ultimate nullifier. Now, here's the thing, because if anybody ever used this device, you're going to die. It's a major sacrifice that technically has to be done as a way to get rid of Galactus. And so for the Silver Surfer, he agrees to be the one to sacrifice his life to save this planet. And so with the ultimate nullifier, what it's going to do is absorb the energy of our heroes, but also the energy of Galactus, and then continue to feed Galactus until technically he overloads. And so that is their actual plan to defeat Galactus once and for all. And it does really work out for our heroes, where Galactus is truly defeated. Now, with Galactus being gone, you didn't have our heroes go their separate ways, right? Now, for Reed Richards, is him kind of hoping that Doctor Doom will go ahead and switch sides. Like, Doctor Doom will try to reopen the doors that he had locked away in his heart and allow the different people that he made friends with back in college be back in his life once again. But of course, for Doctor Doom, he can't do that. But to go ahead and get into the ending of the storyline, we do switch over to Steve Rogers, right? And so for Steve Rogers, he's currently at the grave at Abraham Wilson. Now, Abraham Wilson was the father to Sam Wilson, who died trying to give Steve back his shield. But you didn't have Steve be confronted by Richard Barnes and Peggy Carter. Now, of course, as we know, Steve should know these characters very well. But the thing is, Steve does not remember them. And this kind of leads into the idea of them, or they were going to, try to give us another origin story for Steve Rogers in this reality. But unfortunately, when it came to Heroes Reborn, it got canceled, and you did have our heroes go back into the main Marvel universe, restoring the original origin of Steve Rogers. But the reason why I'm saying all of this because for Steve, being confronted by Bucky and also Peggy and not knowing them, you didn't have Nick Fury appear. And for Nick Fury, he says, listen, we can't tell you how you know them or when you met them. But it's also Nick Fury saying, like, by the way, what you were told, the whole idea of Truman. Because remember, in the very first story arc for Steve Rogers in this reality, we had learned that he wasn't frozen in time. That technically what happened was, for Steve Rogers, he had a disagreement with the president after World War II because they had dropped the bombs in Japan. And he hated the idea of them doing that. And so what Nick Fury did was he used technology back then to control the mind of Steve Rogers, to make him live different lives throughout the years leading into the 1990s. And so here we are now, it's Nick saying, like, there's a possibility none of that happened, which means how in the world did Steve survive from World War II up to until now? Like, what happened between these 2 points in time? But the thing is, we don't get the chance to learn it here. And so with that being said, guys, this is where we're going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, see y'all next time. Later.